What's popping YouTube? Welcome to another video. Today, I'm talking to you about something a little bit different, something that doesn't have a direct correlation to the markets, to the charts, but I think it is one of the most important assets and important abilities to be able to, you know, to possess as an individual and as a trader, and it is called delayed gratification. Now, if you don't know what delayed gratification is, it is defined as your ability to withhold temptation and fight, the instant reward and be patient and wait for something that is worthwhile and greater long term. And a good example of, delayed gratification and being able to withstand the temptation is the Stanford marshmallow experiment, which was conducted back in the 1960s. It was conducted by a psychologist by the name of Walter Mischel, and he essentially took a bunch of kids, gave them all an individual marshmallow with one of two options. Now, the first option was you can either eat the marshmallow and go on about your day, or you can wait to eat the marshmallow. You can wait 15 minutes, and then you will be rewarded with the second one. So now you have two marshmallows. Now, out of all of those children, the ones who were able to, resist the temptation of just eating the first marshmallow and were able to wait for the second one were proven to have been doing much better in life, financially, within their family, psychologically, all that. They were doing much better in life. Now, you may wonder, like, what does this have to do with trading? What does this have to do with me? However, actually, an example of a woman who was a part of this experiment as a kid was the former YouTube CEO. Her name was Susan Wojcicki. You can look this up. But she was actually one of the ones who was able to wait the longest without receiving the second marshmallow. And she didn't eat the first one, though. This is something that, some scientists say that it is, you're born with it. Some say it's about how you're brought up. But I think that regardless of all that, you can still practice. You can practice it, and you can, put the work forth to try to attain it and hone in on it as much and as best as possible. Now, I think how this correlates to trading, correlating to the charts is, when we first get into trading, we look at it as a form of passive income. We look at it as a get rich quick scheme. And, once you find out pretty quickly that it's the complete opposite. It is a long, rigorous journey that will take a long time. You won't just, see profits easily. It's not passive income. It's not something that will just, get you your dream car overnight, or, whatever, your watch house, whatever you're chasing, vacation. It's not going to get you that quickly. It's going to take a lot of years of work, a lot of just years of lessons and failures. And it is partly, just due to social media. As a result, how trading is promoted, how it is viewed, where you see people posting and flaunting everything, the cars, the money. I made this much in this amount of time. People make videos like that all the time, including myself. So that's how it's promoted, but you have to really understand that that's not what it truly is. And for me, how I have fell victim to, lacking delayed gratification have just been within my risk management in my trading. I think that it is something that a lot of people can attest to as well, because there's a lot of traders out there. There's a lot of people that understand their system, understand their strategy. They know how to trade, but they just fall victim to, poor risk management. And risk management, being able to just lower your size and, take smaller trades, have smaller wins, make less money. I think this is a very good example of being able to delay your gratification. Because if you're willing to take smaller trades, take less trades, lower your size, be able to filter out, the good versus the bad setups. That's another thing too, actually, to talk about. But just being able to lower your size firstly, being able to manage your risk properly, and really be patient with your trades. That is a very prominent example, that's a very prominent example of being able to delay your gratification, because you know that in the long run you will be able to make more money, but in the short term you're just lowering your risk, you're being patient, you're getting used to trading whatever you're trading. Now, when it comes to the setups, I actually was listening to an entrepreneur speak, and he said, it's had nothing to do with trading, but how I took it. So he said, a lot of people that he know that make a lot of money, that are very wealthy, they know how to say no, and they know how to differentiate between a good deal and a great deal. And that ability to just filter out just the good deals, not to waste your time and money on something that might work versus, a great deal to where you're all in off rip. You don't have to do too much thinking about it. Those are the type of deals that the wealthy people take. Those are the type of things that you want to take. Now, when it comes to trading, how I took this was being able to just filter out the good versus the great setups. Now, there will be a lot of setups on a daily basis to where I might think that they can work, but I have to have the self-discipline, the self-control to not take those trades just because they have the possibilities to work, just because they might check off 2 out of the 4 boxes that I usually look for. That's not, ultimately the best setup. I know that a better setup will come. And every time I go to take a trade, I ask myself, will something better come? Is this the best opportunity that I will get today? Because usually on average, my setup probably presents itself in an A+ form 2 to 3, maybe 4 times a day max if we have a lot of volume. But that's really it. It doesn't present itself too much. So I need to ask myself every day, every trade I'm going to take, will this be the best opportunity for me? And it goes hand in hand with what he said about, his wealthy friends, being able to differentiate good business deals versus great ones. You don't want to just jump out the window and take every trade just because it has the possibility to make you money. Same thing that goes with delayed gratification. You have to be able to be patient and don't just bite the bait the minute you see some type of opportunity just because you're connected to making money. You want to make money. You have to disconnect from that and think long term, because over time, if you're taking, like for me, I think if I would have just been able to differentiate the good versus the bad setup, stop taking the poor trades, I would have been profitable so much sooner. I would have been making money in the market so much sooner, but I would just constantly fail to recognize and constantly fail to filter out the bad trades. Like if you right now, you watching this video, if you were just probably, if you know what you're doing, if you've been trading for at least a year, and you have data collected and you understand what you're trading and all that, but you're still not seeing success, if you're still at break even, 9 times out of 10, it's those bad trades that you're taking. It's the trades that don't have the highest, that aren't of the highest quality, but you still take them. And for me, it took me a very long time to really recognize that and understand that I need to make that change. I need to differentiate. I need to filter out the bad or just the mediocre trades that I'm taking, because they were just constantly eating at my wins. Like I would take a very good trade, I would take a good win. Then, over time, say next day I take 2 or 3 just bad, poor quality setups, poor losses that eat away at my wins. And that's why it took me so long to see profitability. So it took me so long to see any type of change, because I was just stuck in that cycle, like a rat race I was stuck in. And for day trading and just life in general, all this stuff is connected. And that's why I believe that trading makes you a better individual. It makes you look at life differently. You see things differently. You look at money differently. You look at time differently. All of these different things that correlate. And this all just stems from delayed gratification, being patient, being able to, withhold and withstand the temporary lust or temporary desires for long-term success. Trading is a long-term game. It's not short-term. Another example, I'm not going to get too biblical, but when you look at Adam and Eve, they couldn't resist temptation and lost paradise because of that. Temptation and discipline is one of the hardest things to overcome as a human being, especially as a day trader. You don't want to succumb to these temptations. Like, yes, the money is what we all start trading for. The money is what I started trading for. I like cars. I like traveling. This is what I wanted to do. This is what I started trading for. But I quickly realized that it's much deeper than that. You have to be willing to disconnect from that. You have to put effort into disconnect from that on a daily basis, because if you don't, then that's gonna run your mind. That's all you're gonna focus off of, and then it's gonna just cause you to make bad decisions. You're going to get in your head. You're gonna try to rush the process. You're gonna get in your head so much more, because you're setting these mental timelines. Like, this is what I know it because I did it. I set these mental timelines on myself. Like, okay, I want to get this by this time. I want to do this by this. I would just set these mental things, but in reality, God is going to give it to you. God is going to put whatever in your life when he feels you're deserving of it, when he feels you need it, and when Even if he might feel like if it's something negative, he's gonna put it in your life because you need that lesson, you need the blessing, whatever the case may be. He doesn't make mistakes. Everything happens for a reason. And I had to really come to terms with that and become comfortable with that, because I was constantly trying to just force and add these mental timelines that only do nothing but add extra stress to you. They make trading so much harder because you're just trying to say, you give yourself a deadline, like I want to make this much by the end of this month. If you're not already making money, if you're not already seeing success trading, and you're just trying to set these unfathomable goals, I guess it's nothing wrong with setting goals for yourself. It's nothing wrong with having aspirations and setting high bars for yourself. But at the same time, you have to understand, when it comes to trading is the one of the only things where a lot of the times, the more work you put in, once you get to a certain point, the more you try at it, the more hours you're on the charts, it starts to negatively affect you. And if you have a bad day, you're much more susceptible to crashing out and blowing your accounts, because you have this mental timeline in your head, like, I have to make this much money by this day, because I have to pay this bill, or I have to go here, I want to go to this place, I told this person I would do this with them, I have to make this amount of money by this time. And when you set these extra timelines, just added pressure, it's added stress on your mind. And trading is already such a mentally taxing game, to where it just makes it so much harder. You have to disconnect. You have to treat trading as just a tunnel. You can't let any outside noise get into that, because once you do, it's self-sabotage. It's like kamikaze. You're gonna blow up every single time. You need to be able to really master your mind, master patience, master discipline. Because if you don't, it's gonna be a constant cycle. It's gonna be kamikaze. You're gonna blow yourself up every single time. I feel like I kind of went off track a little bit, but back to delayed gratification and all that. You want to master it. Look more into it. It is very important. I think it is very key to success in trading. It can make you better even outside of the charts as well. If you can just say, okay, I say I'm on a diet. Somebody offers me dessert. I tell them, no, I'm on a diet. I'm not going to eat it. Maybe in 2 weeks, once I'm done, whatever the case may be. But I'm just trying to think of a quick example, but that's really how it is, though. It's being able to resist, the easy temptations at the short term for something long term. Like, it's all tied in. And it goes so much deeper. I could keep talking about this, but I do want to keep this video short. I don't want to drag it out too long. I honestly feel like I did get off track a little bit, but thank y'all for watching. I hope y'all learned something. I hope y'all could take something from, whatever I said. Leave a comment, leave a like, please subscribe. I appreciate you for watching. I'll catch you in the next one.